Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'll be using these two Ankara prints to make a reversible peplum jacket. So this is me folding the fabric, but then the breeze was sort of in the way, blowing off everything. A proper I couldn't get a proper fix on how to lay it down. So but this is Mrs. trying to place everything to lay them well. So the peplum jacket I'm working with has a band of 2 inches. So what I'm going to be doing is from my shoulder to my waist measurement, my half length, I'll be minusing the 2 inches of the band, meaning I'll be left with 14 inches. So from my shoulder to 14 inches, that is where the band will start from. I hope you understand that. So let's get started. The first thing I'll be doing is I'll be drawing out my starting line. I'll be taking I'll be drawing out my starting line like so. Then the next thing I'll be doing is from my shoulder to that place I said we have 14 inches. I'll also take my measurements. I'll take my vertical measurement like so. Then I'll leave half an inch also for my joining at the end parts when I'm attaching the band to it like so. Then for my shoulder, for the back, my shoulder, that is my across back, I'll be using 6.5 inches. Remember, this is a jacket, it's not starting on my shoulder, so I'm going to be minusing 2 inches. Then I will leave half an inch. That will give me 6.5 inches. So I'll do this all the way down to where I have my 14.5 inches, to where the band will start from. I hope you get that. Then for my neck width, I'll be taking 3 inches. Then for the back, from that tip I came down by half an inch for my shoulder slope, which I'm going to connect to the edge of that 3 inches I took for my neck width. Then I'm going to also be leaving half an inch for joining allowance on my shoulder part like so. Then the next thing is for me to cut it out like so, following all the lines I draw out. That is being drawn out like so. I hope you understand that. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be placing the one I cut out. I'm going to be placing it on the other fabric, also on another fabric, to cut it out like so. I'll place them on the other fabric and I'll cut it out like so. I'll cut out like so too. I hope you understand what I meant. Now I'll place that aside. So the next thing I'll be doing is I'm going to be taking my neck depth. The neck depth I'll be working with is I'm working with the back neck depth of 1 inch and then the front neck depth of 3 inches. But then I'll be cutting the two together using the back neckline to cut it first, which is 1, like so. It's a round neck, then I'll cut it out like so. The next thing I'll be doing is I'll take away 1, then I'll be using 1 as my front. Remember I came down by 1 inch, so I'm going to also come down by 2 extra inches, then I'll curve it out like so. This automatically serve as my front line. Since the jacket has an opening in front, I'm also going to be opening the front piece up. That means I'm going to be slitting the middle into 2 like so. And there we have our jacket front piece right there. So this is one for one side. The breeze is sort of in the way, but notwithstanding, we are still going to do what we like doing. Then this is for the other side. So this serve as one. If you don't want to use an Ankara fabric to turn it, you can also use a lining at this point to turn it. But since this is going to be a reversible peplum jacket, I'm going to be using this fabric as the other one, which is going to be serving as sort of my lining to turn it. So whatever I cut whatever I cut for the front bodies will be the same thing I'm going to cut. I'll make sure I place them, no excesses. I'll place them like so. The breeze doesn't want to allow me to cut, but then we are still going to cut no matter the breeze, no matter the weather, we still cut. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to lay my fabric down properly, so that the breeze doesn't get in the way of my cutting. like so. Then I'm going to take one of the front piece, I'm going to take the back piece, I'm going to place it on this fabric like so, making sure it's folded into two. I'll place it and then I'll cut it out like so. Same thing I'm going to be doing for the other front piece also. Same thing I will do. I will also cut it out like so. Make sure it's properly laid. It's properly laid. There's no SXs. There's no extra or half an inch allowance, as it will sort of alter the measurement you first took. So that is my back piece ready. Then I'll also go ahead and cut out my front piece using one of the front piece I cut out. Using one of the front piece I cut out, I'm going to place it on top like so. Pardon me, don't mind the breeze. So I'll place it like so, then I'll also cut it out, making sure everything is well laid and no excess fabric, like so. Then I'll cut it out. So right now we have our front piece ready for both the front and the back, and for both the two Ankara prints we are using. So I'll put it aside. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting out my peplum. I'm going to be cutting out my peplum. The peplum I'm cutting will be a 720-degree peplum. A 720-degree peplum. That is what I'm cutting out, like so. So I'm folding my fabric. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is going to be folding my fabric into two. I folded it into two, then I'll fold it again. That means I'm folding it into four, which will serve as my peplum to cut my 720-degree peplum. Now when cutting out your 720-degree peplum, how to get your waist radiuses: the person waist, which is 29, plus 1 inch of side joining, which is 30, divided by 2. 30 divided by 2 will give me 15. Then that 15 divided by the standard measurement of 6.28 will give me 2.3. And that is what I'm taking for the waist radius. Then for the length I'm working with a length of 9.5 inch, like so. I'll take it like so, all round, all round, all round, all round. Now I will take it again to cut a 720-degree peplum. Whatever waist you're working with, you add 1 inch for joining of the two peplum. That is 29. Say for instance I'm working with a waist radius of 29 inches plus 1 inch of seam allowance, which will give me 30. 30 divided by 2 will give me 15. Then my 15, I'm going to be dividing my 15 with the standard measurement, that is 6.28, which will give me 2.3, like so. I hope you understand that. Because this peplum is going to be into two, a 720-degree peplum is actually two, it's not one. It's actually two peplum in one. I hope you understand that, like so. So I'm going to cut it out. Then same thing I'm also going to be doing for the Ankara piece also, for the other fabric rather. Same thing I'm going to be doing for the other fabric. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut out my rope, or should I say my band. It's serving as a rope and then it's serving as a band, like the rope I'll use to tie to hold the peplum in place. It also serves as my band. Now to get my desired band length, I'm timesing my waist measurement. I'm timesing it times 2.5. Let's say she's using a waist measurement of 29. I'm going to be timesing it times 2.5 inch. Then the bandwidth I'm working with is 3 inches. I hope you understand that. So whatsoever waist measurement you're working with, you times it with 2.5, and if you want it longer you can times it with 3 inches. Then the bandwidth I'm working with is 3 inches, like so. I'll set it aside. Now I'll take the other Ankara fabric. I'm going to fold it into two first, like so. You fold it into two, then you also fold it into another two, making four, like so. Then I'll take one of the peplum which I've cut before. I'll place it on the Ankara fabric and cut out same thing I have on it. Since this is a reversible Ankara jacket which can be worn on the two sides, you can wear the front, you can wear the back piece. And if you feel like this is a wasting of Ankara fabric, you can also decide to use lining to turn yours also. It depends on what the client order, and it also depends on your preference. So, but this is a client order and she wants it to be a reversible Ankara that she can wear. She can wear either one side one day and then the other side the other day. I hope you understand me, like so. I'll cut out the second piece for the Ankara fabric, for the other Ankara fabric, like so. I'll make sure there's no excess, that everything is well placed, everything is well positioned. So there's an excess fabric inside. I had to remove it. I didn't see it when I was cutting. So that is that for the 720-degree peplum. So I'm also going to use the same sample to cut my other Ankara band. So I've gone ahead to iron interfacing. The interfacing I use is paper stay on each fabric piece, the front and the back. I went ahead to iron interfacing on it and I'm stitching it down like so. Then I'm cutting out all the excesses like so. So this is what it looked like. So I'm still stitching at this point, but this is what it looked like. Make sure everything is lying flat, everything is lying down properly. So watch how I turn it inside out, putting my hand into one and then I'm dragging it out like so. Same thing I'm going to do for the other side. I'm going to take my scissors inside to bring out the pointed edge like so. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over to the ironing board and give it a good press. So I also iron interfacing for my peplum piece. I came in by 3 inches. Then I have this sort of curve. Then I'll cut it out like so. That is after joining the two pieces together like so. Then I went ahead to measure what I have for my roundness of my bodice. For the upper part, for the front piece, I'm having 11 inches. Then for the down piece, I'm having 12 inches. That is 11 plus 12 will give me 23. So I'm going to be minusing 23 from 29. Whatever it gives me will be whatever it gives me. So let's say for the roundness, I'm having 5 and a half, 5 and a half, which is 11. Then for the back, I'm having 12. 11 plus 12 is giving me 23. 23 minus 29. Take away 23 from 29, we have 6 inches left. So if you look at the picture, we have a little bit space by the two side. I don't know if you understand what I meant. A little bit space by the two side. So this 6 inches, I'll be dividing it into two, which will give me 3. That means I'll be having 3 inches on the left side, 3 inches opening on the right side. 3 inches on the left side, 3 inches opening on the right side. So I went ahead to notch the middle of my band, and I also went ahead to notch the middle of my bodice like so. So the two middle are going to be placed together, and I'll sew it down like so. Make sure the fabric you are using is the same thing on the fabric of the bodice. I'll sew it down like so. Now if you notice, I have 3 inches. I've already left my 3 inches. I've left it like so. Then I'll sew it down. Now that is the opening. If you notice, that opening there is 3 inches. That side where there is no clothes, that is the opening there. So the same thing I'm going to do for the other side also. From the tip of the cloth, I'll be leaving 3 inches. As you can see, you can also see the opening there. That is from the tip to the other tip of the cloth. You have to leave 3 inches. If yours is whatever yours give you, when you minus it, whatever it gives you, if it is 4, you have to leave 4 inches from the tip to the other tip of the cloth. I hope you understand that like so. Now sewn my both fabric, the both band, which will serve as my rope. I've sewed it down like so. Now that is the opening I measured. The opening there, the space, or let's just call it that space, the space in between one of the back, the so the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be joining my two peplum together, making sure that I've already joined it by the center. I'm going to be joining my two peplum together, following the curve like so. You can see the center. You have to join it by half an inch, half an inch. That is the reason why we left 1 inch allowance for joining. Then I'll trim out the excesses. Then I'll take this over to the sewing to the ironing board and give it a good press. I'll give it a good press. So at this point, I've joined my band. I've joined my peplum to the band. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the two band like so, as you can see. Then I'm sewing it down like so. I'll sew it down. I'll sew it to where the peplum is. I'll sew it like so, making sure that the peplum I sew is just on one band. I don't know if you understand that. The peplum sew is sewn to one band alone, not to the two band. Then I'll sew it down like so also. I won't sew it straight down. I'll only sew it to where the peplum is starting from. Then I'll lock it like so. Then I'll trim out. So I'm turning it inside out like so. Make sure the peplum is sewed to one side of the band, not on the two sides, one side of the band. And I'll do the same thing to the other side. I'll turn the rope that serves as a band, I'll turn it inside out like so. As you can see, the peplum is only sewn to one side of the band, the other side is left open. So I'm going to take this other side now, take it to the ironing board and iron. That is, I'll be folding half an inch like so, all the way down. So this is it. I've folded half an inch like so. Then the next thing I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be stitching it down like so. Sew it down gently. At the end of your sewing, make sure to lock it, that is, make sure to backstitch it to avoid any loosening or any opening. Then I'll take it over to the to the ironing board rather, and give the band that serve as the rope a good press. So you can wear this to church, you can wear this with a round neck top, a turtleneck top. You can also wear this with a trouser, or you can wear it with a skirt. So I'll show you the final outcome of what it looks like, and hopefully the client send us a picture of how she rock our peplum jacket. So if you find this video helpful, give this video a thumbs up, like, share, comment, and I'll see you all in my next video. Thank you.